kids, where are you? It's time for all the art to tell stories.
Time seemed ordinary in its relentless flow, until it wasn't. It began with subtle anomalies. Clocks ticking backward for seconds at a time, sunsets arriving too early, and déjà vu gripping people in waves of confusion. At first, these incidents were dismissed as technical glitches or tricks of the mind. Then, entire days began to repeat themselves, and history started rewriting itself in fragments. The Temporal Research Institute, a hidden organization dedicated to studying time's mysteries, scrambled to investigate the anomalies. Among its most brilliant minds were Dr. Elara Quinn, a physicist with a reputation for solving impossible problems, and Kael Strix, a field agent adept at navigating chaos. The two had worked together on various projects, but this was unlike anything they had ever faced. Their research uncovered a startling truth. Time itself was unraveling, caught in an endless loop that threatened to collapse every timeline into a singular paradox. The Course, an artifact of unimaginable power known as the Chronos Core, long thought to be a myth. Someone or something had tampered with it, disrupting the balance of time. Elara and Kael's investigation took them to the edge of temporal stability, where they encountered their first loop. They found themselves trapped in a day that reset every time they made a critical breakthrough. Each loop revealed subtle changes. A city that wasn't there before. Conversations that diverged slightly, and even people who hadn't existed before the anomaly. As the loops repeated, they discovered they weren't alone. Versions of themselves from parallel timelines appeared, each carrying fragments of knowledge, but conflicting motivations. Some versions had grown desperate, others hostile, and a few had allied with an unseen force threatening to exploit the chaos. The pair realized that their timelines were converging, and if they didn't act fast, the boundaries between realities would dissolve entirely. Determined to find the Chronos Core, Elara and Kael delved deeper into the shifting fabric of reality. Along the way, they encountered allies from other timelines. Rin Solaris, a warrior from a dystopian future where machines ruled, armed with a device capable of detecting temporal distortions. Lila Ardent, a historian from the past who had studied the legends of the Chronos Core and possessed vital clues about its origins. Tess, a rogue AI from a timeline where humanity merged with technology, offering invaluable computational assistance, but with ambiguous intentions. The group formed a tenuous alliance, bound by the shared goal of stabilizing time, but burdened by mistrust. The search for the Chronos Core took them through fractured realities. A world where dinosaurs roamed alongside modern cities, blending epochs into a chaotic present. A timeline where humanity never existed, leaving Earth overrun by colossal sentient flora. A parallel universe where time moved backward, forcing the team to retrace their steps carefully to avoid being trapped. Each jump brought them closer to the Chronos Core, but at a cost. Time's instability began affecting them physically and mentally. Memories from alternate lives bled into their consciousness, threatening to erode their sense of self. Elara, in particular, struggled with visions of a timeline where she had failed to save her family, a past she had buried deep within herself. Kael, meanwhile, grappled with the knowledge that one version of him had betrayed the mission in a different timeline. The team finally located the Chronos Core in a nexus where all timelines intersected, a swirling maelstrom of light and shadow. The core was a crystalline object suspended in an infinite void, pulsating with energy that resonated across every timeline. Guarding the core was the paradox, a manifestation of the temporal imbalance. It was a being of shifting forms, embodying countless versions of everyone who had ever sought the core. The paradox revealed its intent. It sought to merge all timelines into a single reality. To do so, it needed Elara's unique understanding of temporal mechanics and Kael's tactical expertise. The team devised a plan to stabilize the core by redirecting its energy into a newly constructed temporal anchor. However, the paradox countered their every move, exploiting their weaknesses by showing them alternate versions of their lives. Elara saw a reality where her family thrived because she had never joined the Temporal Research Institute. Kael witnessed a version of himself living peacefully, free from the burden of duty. Rin, Lila, and Tess faced similar visions, each tempted to abandon the mission. Despite the emotional toll, Elara reminded the team of what was at stake. A perfect reality doesn't exist. What matters is the choice we make now to protect what we have. In the final showdown, the team confronted the paradox. Rin and Kael fought to keep it at bay, while Elara worked on stabilizing the core. Lila used her historical knowledge to decipher the core's inscriptions, revealing the sequence needed to reset it. Tess, despite doubts about her intentions, sacrificed herself to overload the paradox's defenses. Elara activated the temporal anchor, sending a shockwave through the Nexus. The timelines began to realign, but the team knew this meant they would be returned to their original realities, likely never to meet again. As the Nexus collapsed, the team shared a brief, poignant moment of gratitude and understanding. Back in her original timeline, Elara woke in her lab, the Chronos Core now a dormant artifact sealed within a containment unit. The anomalies had ceased, and time flowed normally once more. Though the others were gone, Elara carried their memories, faint but vivid. She resolved to ensure that the mistakes leading to the paradox would never be repeated. Kael, in his timeline, found himself back on a mission, but with a newfound sense of purpose. Rin, Lila, and the echoes of Tess continued their lives in their respective realities, each changed by their shared journey. And in the shadows of the Temporal Research Institute, a faint glow emanated from the sealed core, hinting that time's mysteries were far from fully unraveled.